What's going on, Tar Pit crew? Welcome back. Live episode. This is the Tar Pit Postgame. I'm Troy. I'm joined in here with my guy Trevor. We're unpacking everything that went right, that went wrong Friday night against over in California on the road at Cal. Carolina suffers, I guess you could say. I guess it's fair, Trevor. Heartbreaking loss given how hard the guys fought and the product that was put out on the field. We'll get it all into that a little bit later, but Carolina falls on the road at Cal, 21-18, 2-4, and I'm over here looking, just refreshing, making sure I'm spitting out the right info. So bear with me, folks. I'm on my hosting duties again tonight. We're missing our guy Chris. Carolina falls to 2-4 overall, 0-2 in the ACC. And just want to talk about it tonight. Want to give a shout out to our guy Chris, who graduated from Carolina this weekend with his MBA. From Keenan Flagler. I think that's how you say the business school. I always struggle with that word for some reason. But shout out to
accomplish something I will never do.
Yeah. State fans would call us Walmart fans, Trevor. But our guy Chris got it done, man. He over the last several months since he joined us, we've seen him not only dedicate his time and his effort, a lot of his time and his effort into the Tar Pit, but we've also seen him staying up late for class while being a dad. To his daughter and to a husband, to his wife Anna, his daughter Asha. They got a great family, man, and he's a hardworking guy. So just want to give him his flowers and his love tonight. We're without him again, but he will be back. So we're looking forward to it, and because he's a big staple for what we got going on here at the Tar Pit, behind the scenes and on the stage. So Trevor, jump in here with me, bro. A lot of football was going on. Heels played Friday. We had a pretty intense and dramatic Saturday for college football, and then NFL today. So Carolina Panthers 3 wins, baby. How we feeling?
Hey, we're rolling. I sent that. I don't know if our fans have saw this, but I sent it in our group chat when it happened. There was a Carolina podcast that had quit, a Panther podcast that quit, and they said the reason they quit is they couldn't justify telling their wives they were going to record because the Panthers were so bad. Well, ever since they've quit, the Panthers are 3-0. So I thought that was funny, man. But I think going back to our ball, man, Chris, when he set this up for us earlier today, he titled it "Late Night Heartbreak," and that's exactly what it was, man. I saw some fans. I don't feel this way, but some fans were saying they'd rather get the crap beat out of us than lose the way we did. I think I'd rather play the way we did, but man, I just hate it the way it ended for all the kids, but especially Nathan, man. That's something that he'll remember for the rest of his life. So prayers for him. I'm sure he's getting loved on, but that's it was really just a better play by the Cow. Like, that was a heck of a play, man. The peanut punch, like, to have that's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. If he does not punch that ball out, that's a heck of a play.
He was the nose of a football away from winning that, from us winning the game, barring any unforeseen circumstance by Cal's offense.
The way our defense had played in the second half, I think we would have won the game, man. I think we would have won the game, but I thought it was fitting. So I don't know if you realize this, but our first play of the game was a fumble by our wide receiver. Our last offensive play of the game was a fumble by our wide receiver. So how about that?
And I'll tell you this, man, and we'll just jump right into it. If you got anything else you want to add, we just want to roll.
Well, I'll say, going back to Chris, man, congratulations to him. I got to go up there yesterday, and we went to after party at 140 Social. First time ever trying some food outside of wings. We do our live game day shows, and we only got wings. We're moving so quick. Man, they got a good freaking smash burger too. I think all their food was good. So shout out to 140 Social. They were a good host for us yesterday.
Yeah, I'll throw this out there too. I'm warmed up, dude. I'm juiced. I was on 94 feet of UNC with Linzel, chopping it up with him tonight. We got a pre-recorded show. The link I didn't, my MacBook, my messages from my Mac and my phone, something's going on there and it's not syncing. So I was trying to copy it so I could throw it in the chat tonight so people could tune in. But got a little preview of some basketball, man. I follow Carolina basketball, much like I guess the normal Carolina, fan would. You know what I mean? Trevor, I don't know. Do you follow basketball like that?
I do. I watch every game. Crazy story, I've never been to a basketball game in person, but I've never
Yeah.
missed a game on TV.
Yeah.
So watch every game.
Well, I was going to say, if there was one Carolina fan that didn't follow Carolina basketball like that, I think it would be you. I do.
I'm,
I don't.
I'm all in on football, but I support
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. So it was good to kind of dip into that side a little bit. I realized how much of football has had my focus, because looking at it, man, like I was talking to Linzel about it, and there was a couple times I had spit out some things that I thought was right, and I was like way off. But I kind of put the basketball cap on a little bit tonight, and chopped it up with him, Linzel, over at 94 feet of UNC. You can find his socials. You can find him on Twitter. That's his handle, as well as on YouTube. He's got a good thing. Linzel's a good dude, man. I was happy to get on with him. He came on our Clemson live game day show at 140 Social, and just sitting down talking to him that one time, I could tell he would be a good guy to sit down and chop it up with about Carolina basketball. So I'm warmed up, Trevor. I've been talking about Carolina for like the last hour and a half, just on the hardwood.
Hey,
Yeah.
one more thing before we go into the game. I got a shout out. I thought it was fitting I'd wear my Air Drake tonight. But how about our guy Drake in the NFL, man? I knew he was the real deal, and I knew he'd show out this year. But every week, man, it's just something.
He gets better and better. He gets better and better. And yeah, I've got him on my fantasy team, and I'm gonna go into fantasy a little bit tonight because I'm in a tight one, folks. I'm 122, 121. He's got Rashad White going tomorrow night on the road at Detroit, and I got Detroit's kicker. So we'll see.
I got him in both of mine. Chris is in here watching. Said we're going to get Trevor to his first game, and then I'm ready, Chris. I'm going to let you do the honor, man. You're my guy. You're going to take me to my first game, so I'm ready.
Yeah, but it's hopefully it's a good season, man. I think we've got a lot of talent across the board on there. It's just got to all fit together. But we can. Anybody wants some Carolina basketball content, go check out my guy Linzel at 94 feet of UNC. He's got it going on. I love the dude's background. You know me, dude. I'm a sucker for a good intro video. Linzel got a good one. I'm telling you, Linzel's got a dope. He's got a dope setup, bro.
I'm gonna have to check it out. To check it out.
It was fun. I told him, man, I enjoyed it today with him. So I told him if he ever needed me in the past or in the future to let me know. But let's get into it, bro. Let's start on the offensive side of football. Carolina put a product out, man, that it worked for the game. You know what I mean? There until the end, until it didn't. And I wouldn't even necessarily say it didn't work. It was just the defender made a good play. And I will tell you about Nathan, man, and both of those guys. Shenard, I think Shenard had our first fumble, play of the game. I'm sitting there baffled, dude. I tweeted it out, LOL, in all caps. I'm just like,
Clemson game was a touchdown. This week is a fumble. First play of the game.
Yep. But I'll tell you the one thing. Here's what, after looking at both of those situations, you if you want to look for wins, like obviously Carolina lost this game, but if you look for wins, and we as fans, and at least myself, I can find wins out of this game, whether it be moral wins or just whatever we put out on the field, or the product that we put out on the field. Carolina looked like a team with a pulse. That it's outside of the two wins that we had coming into this game, Charlotte and Richmond. The other three games, it was like downright embarrassing. And
we showed up against a Power 4 opponent.
Exactly. And Cal's got their deficiencies and whatnot. We talked about, some of the things, some of the players and whatnot. And Cal's got its pluses and it's got its negatives. Cal's a team that surprised a lot of people in not just the ACC, but around the nation. They're a team I don't think anybody really thought that Cal would have this start to the year. They got a good quarterback. The running game over there, and we'll talk about that as we get into defense. But I'm with you. Carolina proved that it could hang with a Power 4 team. I've said it, and I summed it up. I said it before the game that I didn't mind losing This is where I'm at with the season. I don't mind losing as long as we don't put the product that we've put the other 3 games against Power 4 teams. As long as that product, if we're competitive and we're competing, football is a very situational game. There's moments in a football game that you can look back in every game and say, okay, well, if we wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have had a fumble, then we would have won the game. Prime example. You know what I mean? So that defender just made a great play, and Chenard and Nathan, those are 2 young guys, in the portal era.
That's a 14-point swing. Those 2 plays is a 14-point swing. So I'm with you 1,000%.
Yeah, but and more specifically for them two, those guys, that I'm hoping, and I can only hope that right there, those 2 situations would make them players both better, which would then benefit us. They're both young. It's a teachable moment. Going back and looking at it, I think Chenard just got gang tackled and the ball just found its way out of his hands, and then Nathan, the defender, just made a hell of a play. I mean, that's an NFL DB play right there, to have the wherewithal to punch the ball out. And at that specific moment, I know Nathan didn't expect it, because if he did, he wouldn't have fumbled. You know what I mean? So, but talk a little bit more about the offense, Trevor. And I'll kind of I'll kind of lead us off with this. We had talked in the pregame about Caleb Hood's absence, his retirement from football, and it was going to be one or the other between Benjamin Hall and Davion Goss to seemingly, make the most of the touches that they were going to get in his absence. And Benjamin Hall, man, I was, if there was a player that I was really impressed with Friday night, it was Benjamin Hall and what he did with his opportunities. He looked calm when he ran, but he ran hard. He showed a little bit of patience. At points in times when he approached the line, he would just kind of wait and fill it out, and then he would explode. I want to see what Carolina. I'll let you touch on this.
I told you he was going to score.
You did. I called you immediately. Somebody, I can't remember who it was. It was
our guy Caleb, I think. Caleb did our song, right? I believe so.
Yeah, Caleb chimed in. He's like, "Well, there was the Benjamin Hall touchdown."
Yeah,
it's a good call. Carolina ran for 120 yards this game on 29 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns. And Davion did 6 carries, 31 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, he got in late, man, and there was one carry. I said bullet. He looked like a bullet going up the middle. It was right before we scored, I believe, and got the 2-point conversion. He had a good run, man, and that's things you can build on. And what is it? We saw the video, and I've got it in here. We'll probably post it at the end, but we talk about all week. It was the process, right? And the process, it didn't seem to look like it was working, but from where we were to where we looked at now, and this Cal team, I mean, no one expected them to be good, but we talked about it before on our pregame show. They were right there with Duke until late. Duke pulled away late, but Cal was up. Most of that game, Cal was leading. So, and to go back to the running backs too, one thing I've noticed, man, and I noticed it all through Belichick's career, is he's going to go like every week. It seems like it could be a different running back. I remember in fantasy, man, I would hate having a Patriots running back. Yeah. Unless it was a game you knew they were going to throw the ball a lot and you could lock in James White. There was never like a running back that you knew was going to be the guy. So I think with a Bill Belichick offense or a Bill Belichick team, it could be any guy, but he goes with whoever's, having the best week at practice. And I went back to Benjamin. It was mainly, when you look at, he was one of the guys available at the press conference. Usually when those guys are available at a press conference, he had some flashes against Clemson, but there's a reason he's been showing out in practice.
Yeah.
So, and we got Benjamin. I believe he's got a few more years with us. We got Davion. We got Damon. So we've got some backs that should be fresh for this run, and we're going to need them, man, because we saw I've gave Freddie Kitchens crap all throughout the year. We've bashed him, but I think Freddie for the most part, called a really good game. That was one play. I joked, I'm going to bring it up here. This right here, I joked in our chat, and I was like, can we just run this formation the whole game?
Yeah.
Like, I did not expect to see that. Like, so there was that. And then I really liked, we went to this right here, a toss for I believe this was the touchdown on 3rd and goal. We went with the halfback toss, and that's something we hadn't ran this year. So I think Freddie called a good game. I do want to see us, continue to build on that. Can we, as a team and also as a play caller with him, can we continue to build on that and go through? And this was a game where it looked like Gio grew up a little bit for us. I mean, he still had his struggles. He missed guys that, some throws that he should, want back. And there were some guys that were open that he didn't hit. But he made, late in the game, he made some big throws on 3rd down. He stood up there, took shots. And one thing else I'll say with Gio is I wish he'd use his legs more, So if he's going to be the guy, hopefully he can continue to grow.
Yeah. I wanted to highlight the running back room because Carolina, 29 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. They got a lot of production out of the running back room. And that's something that, in the games that we have looked good in, it's been on the heels of our running game. You look at Richmond, you look at Charlotte a little bit, but then you look at this game as well, and they had a consistent running game, and really did a good job. I felt like the offensive line did a good job as well on run blocking. Just overall, the product that was on the field was just night and day from the other three power games against Power 4 competition, and Clemson, UCF, and TCU. It was just it was refreshing to see, in my opinion.
It was good to see something other than just the first drive of the game work.
Yeah.
So I'm there with you.
You were telling me that Freddie's on the back end Freddie's on the back end of his game script, I think in the second quarter or something like that.
Yeah. He went back to that first play script, that first drive script that we didn't use. But hey, on offense, man, we can't move on from that without talking about this guy here.
Shout out Dr. Pepper Chris. Little diet Dr. P.
I'll let you get. This is your boy, man. You've always been a big Kobe fan.
That's us, big dog. Walmart fans over here. I got a Walmart Carolina shirt in my bag. My mother-in-law bought me, buddy.
You can't find none of this at Walmart, Big Josh.
Yeah, yeah, Kobe, man. I've been waiting on a game from Kobe, like this. Before we get into Kobe, though, can we talk about Gio a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a graphic for Gio. Throw him up there, man. I thought this was obviously Gio's best game since he got to Carolina. I think this was Carolina's best game this season. But specifically on Gio's part, I think he did an all right job. I am with you, Trevor.
I'll say, yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll say all right, but much better than he was.
Yeah, all right as a whole, but definitely much more improved than what we've seen the other 3 games. And granted, I know in all of our games so far this season, there's always been like a lingering injury or something around. There's always been rumors of him being injured, or did he practice, or was he limited in practice this week? But I thought he looked efficient. 19 for 35, 167. 167 passing yards, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions. So it was a good night for Gio. I felt like he distributed the ball. He wasn't as hesitant as he had been in the past. But I'm like you, man, and I want you to kind of touch on this a little bit because we are in agreement here. I do think he needs, and I saw it Friday night. I do think he needs to look to run. And when I say run, I don't necessarily mean look for the big run play, like a 47-yard scamper for a first down or something. But you need to be more mobile out of the pocket. I don't really see him, like he steps up into the pocket, and I get that. That's cool. And I'm not telling Gio Lopez how to play quarterback. I'm not a D1 quarterback. I played Division III football, right? So, but this is just me and my observation. I do think if he were to extend plays east to west, and have his receivers run with him in space, me as a receiver from high school, even up into college, you're taught that at a very young and you're, as you get into more serious football, you're taught that early on in a very serious football stage. If you're a receiver, you're taught to run in space, run with your quarterback if he's scrambling. I would like to see him do that a little bit more. Now, if the 47-yard scamper's there, then take it. You know what I mean? He's got wheels. We've seen it.
Take what the defense gives you.
Exactly. So I'm going to pass it to you and let you get your thoughts in here, Trevor.
Yeah, and I brought up Steve's comment. So, Steve, I wish we could share the all 22 version of the game in here, and really like do a insane deep dive. Maybe we can look into that and see if we could do something like that, because there was times where there was deep plays open and Gio checked it down. I remember one particular play. If you go back and watch the game, he checked it down and Matt Lombardi, he got on him, and that was the first time I've seen that this year. Matt Lombardi was letting them know, and Gio was trying to tell him what he saw. And, there was some coaching going on and some disagreeing going on, but I like to see that. But I think there was times where Gio had guys deeper and shots that he could take and he didn't take. And there was one ball that he did take a shot and it won't nowhere near, it was a ball that almost got intercepted that he threw deep. But I really do go back to, what I've said at the beginning, what you were talking about. If he runs the ball, take what the defense gives you. Don't go get hit, slide down, be smart about it. But when there's holes, don't just stand there and wait and then check it down. Take off, get the 5-6 yards and get down and live to play another down. But when you do that, man, it's going to open up so much more. And not only like, you were saying your receivers are taught to scramble which way you're going. It's a scramble drill to get open, but it'll also open up more because the defense will have to make adjustments to it, and it makes everything flow a lot better. So I do wish we'd see that a little more for him. But I think he did play a much better game than what we've seen all year from him. So he was there, and I mean, we came back, right? What was it, 21-18 was the final score, and it was 21-10, and he led us back. I mean, he made some big throws when we needed him to. So hopefully, and there was a receiver that made some big catches when we needed him to. I think we'll probably talk about him next, but if we can just continue to grow, and see where this thing is at the end of the year, and hopefully we can build on this.
I want to give a shout out to. I agree with you on everything about Gio, man. Obviously, I think this was Carolina's best game this season. Legit game. You know what I mean? Outside of Richmond and Charlotte, this was the best our offense has looked. And it was still like it was still frustrating at times to watch it though. That's at times, but it was night and day from where we were from where the previous three showings that we had put out on the field. But I have to rave about this guy because they were raving about him on ESPN. I don't know if you heard it, but one of the announcers was raving about Chad Lindbergh, and we don't have a graphic on him, but I have to give him a shout out, and really the offensive line as a whole, because I think for what we did, I mean, we rushed for 120 yards, we threw for 167. I felt like I don't know, how many sacks did we give up? Do we know?
I didn't look at that, but I was pulling a graphic. You said you needed a Lindbergh graphic.
Yeah, there we go.
Got him up pretty quick.
I forgot I had that.
It won't many. I think the offensive line played a really good game. There was a play where I would love to coming out of a timeout, or we just got the ball off a punt, and we have a false start penalty first before we even snapped the ball, and that's happened about 2 or 3 times this year. Yeah. So I would love to clean up those things on the offensive side of the ball, but I think the line held its own, and Lindbergh, he looked much better. He continues to get better each week snapping the ball. I think that's probably where you were going into it.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going into it. It says on here Cal only had 1 sack, so Gio only got sacked. They don't ever. The ESPN is weird, man, with their stats. They don't.
And sometimes those sacks probably. I bet you. I mean, I don't want to put blame on anybody, but sometimes it's not the O-line's fault when there is a sack.
Yeah. But I thought Chad. They were raving about him during the game. I thought that was a pretty cool moment. He's a grad transfer from Rice. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, my man Cole, what's up, brother, man?
Troy back out like a squirrel.
I am. I'm not. You got to keep me on. You got to keep me on task here. All right, let's talk about. Let's get into the receiving room, man, because this is my guy, Trevor. This is my guy. I wanted to drink bleach after that fumble in the end zone. Yeah, Cole, it was tough, bud. It was tough.
I needed some therapy after
these
that.
chats mess with me, Trevor. You don't have to manage this chat.
All right, you just get the chat out of here, man. I'll run the chat, but yeah, go ahead, man. Kobe is your boy, and I wasn't expecting that from Kobe. I wish I would have called that. I would look like a genius.
Yeah, Kobe Paysour, 6 catches, 101 yards, coming out party for him this season. The first player for Carolina this season, first receiver for Carolina, or running back, I guess you could say, first player for Carolina this season to have over 100 yards receiving in a game. 6 catches, 101, no touchdown. But he had some pretty clutch catches. That one on the sideline to extend the drive, they reviewed it like for 20 minutes, I felt like. But where's that play at? The smoke and mirror play that you got.
I don't know if I've got the. That's not it. I don't think I've got the play in here because it would only let me upload so many.
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, Kobe, he balled out, bro. He balled out, and that catch that he made, he got up talking. He took a shot and held on to that ball. That was like 3rd and 20. And this is the first time. Obviously, there's Jordan Shipp and has made some big plays for us, but for a full game, Gio actually, it felt like he got into a rhythm with a receiver, and that was with Kobe, and I'm excited about that because we know what our guy Shipp can do. We know what Kobe has done. I mean, Kobe Paysour with Drake May that first year, man.
Man.
When Josh was hurt, Kobe was a baller.
I've been a Kobe fan since he got to campus, man. I have. Kobe Paysour has been my favorite receiver in that receiver room since he got to campus. He's a Matt Brown guy, but just a guy, a lethal weapon in the slot, can run any route in the route tree and has got hands and he'll go up and make a play. I was glad to see him produce, and it like you said, man, it looked like Gio finally got comfortable. We've talked about Shipp, being the presumptive wide receiver one for this team. But, if Kobe, they can feature Kobe, and they need to. I don't understand. Kobe's proved at the college level, and Freddie knows this. This is why it's so mind-boggling to me. He's seen it. And I know he's dealt with injuries and this, that, and the third. I mean, he had his foot operated on 2 seasons ago, I think it was, and then he re-injured it again.
Yeah, he broke his other foot. He had 2 broken feet as soon as he got back. So he's had a tough road. I tweeted it out, man. It's good to see him back and making plays because that'll mess with your mental, man. You come back, rehab from an injury, 1 broken foot, break your other foot at practice, and he's been through a lot. So I was very excited to see that. And hopefully, I mean, we can get in some rhythm, man, and continue to build off this.
Yeah, not just Kobe, man, and shout out to him. They certainly utilized him well Friday night. But the wide receiver room as a whole, 19 catches, 167 yards, averaging 8.8 yards a catch. I mean, that's not bad. 8.8 just shows that you're not really taking too many shots down the field. And I guess we can I don't know how you feel about it. I don't, taking shots downfield. I mean, if it's there, it's there. You know what I mean? I don't know if we're just playing a little bit conservative on offense. I don't think we've had the showing that we've needed to in many games to kind of play conservative. But the production from the wide receiver group, it was good to see. I mean, we played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We played 6 different receivers tonight, so it was good. It was good to get them in the groove. I'm pass it to you, bud. What else you got in here? Are you good on offense?
Yeah, I mean, nothing much more on offense. Like I said, with the shots, I felt like there was some shots there that we just didn't take. To be honest with you, so if we can, build on it and hopefully this gives Gio a little bit of confidence because this is like we said, a heartbreak, and I think they obviously didn't go out there and put up longo numbers or numbers we've seen in the past from our offense, but they did enough to win the game. If we don't, fumble that ball at the end, I think we win the game, and if we don't fumble the one at the beginning, that, like I said, that's a 14-point swing in my opinion. So build on this, and that's about all I got on the offensive side.
Yeah, I will tell you, man. Like I was saying earlier, football is a very situational game. You go through and you win. If you win key moments during the game, usually you end up winning the football game. Teams that step up and make plays when plays are needed to be made usually end up winning a good amount of football games. Every now and then a game will catch up to you. You may drop one or something like that. But I felt like the guys, for how the game went, they on both sides of the football, and we're getting ready to talk about defense here in a minute, but I felt like the offense, considering the product that's been put on the field in previous games, I felt like they did a good job of managing the football game. You had a chance to win and was in like 2 inches away from coming back to the East Coast with a win. And that is heartbreaking. It was a heartbreak at night, or late night heartbreak, as we titled this thing. But I'm okay with it. It was tough to see. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I'm okay with it considering how we played. And I felt like the guys did a good job of managing the football game and staying poised and calm and just letting the game work itself out. Do your job. Make plays when the ball's thrown to you. I watched Cal's offense, man, seem to struggle at times because they just couldn't get any consistency in the passing game. I mean, I felt like we were decent. We were decent in the passing game. We ran the ball efficient for 120. But overall, I just think on both sides of the football, but offense, speaking on the offense right now, the guys did a good job of staying poised and calm and letting the game work itself out and make plays when your number's called. They've talked about it. The coaching staff's talked about it. Bill's talked about it. Guys are going to get opportunities to make plays, and the guys that capitalize on those opportunities are going to get more opportunities to capitalize. It's all in what you do with it. Kobe goes for 101. Benjamin Hall has a good game. Gio gets back on the field and shows that he has some sense about him. You know what I mean? Freddie seems to be coming around, or maybe they're starting to get better at different things. It's all about just at this point, you just got to roll with it and just keep stacking them, man. And that's when I think we'll see some of our best football is later on in the year, in this part of the season coming up. I hope I'm right.
It's not something we've been used to the past few years with Mac. Usually we start out hot and then fizzle out at the end of the year, right? So
yeah.
I hope you're right too, man. It hasn't went how we'd hoped. Obviously, we have not looked good at times, but Friday was a refresher, right? We didn't win, but hey, we covered. That's a start, right? Vegas had us losing by 10.5 at one point, 13.5. So
yeah,
we covered, right?
What was I saw a bunch of. I was up late Friday, man. It was a long one. The game ended at 2:16 a.m. Yep. I think I laid down probably about 3 or so, and
I didn't go to sleep till about 4:30. Man, I couldn't. I needed therapy, Troy. I ain't gonna lie.
Did anybody jump in your space?
No, I just sat there, man, and then I got on and just played NASCAR, bro. I was driving around Daytona just doing laps. I was all tore up.
Heck yeah! All of a sudden, Trevor start thinking about the game and swerve his car into the wall.
Yeah. But we had some bright spots. Kobe was one, and let's shift over to the defensive side of the ball, man, and talk about this cat right here. If you go back and I tweeted about this during the game, if you go back and listen to our Inside the Locker Room, I believe is the title of the series. I may have messed that up, but Miles McVay came on with us, and we got a raise hell, praise Dale. That's right, Justin Price. Appreciate the support, buddy. But
Kyle Larson, number 5, buddy. Young buddy.
Hey, Hendrick, he was another Hendrick guy. But you go back and you watch our episode with Miles McVay, offensive lineman, transfer from Bama. It's on the team now. We asked him, we were like, who's the best pass rusher you've ever went against? Obviously at Bama, he went up against some good ones. So his answer was Will Anderson, who's, first round pick at the Texans, top 10 pick, lighting it up. But he also said, there's a guy on our team though, that's not getting talked about a lot. He's got some juice. And I want you to watch out for Tyler Thompson. And what did Tyler do, man? He went out there and he made some plays. And we needed him. Bryce Yates wasn't playing again. Hopefully that's not something that'll last long, but he stepped up. He had, his first career 2 sacks, forced a fumble. We almost recovered it in the end zone, rolled out of bounds. But he played good, man. So that was good to see. Another younger guy, something that hopefully we can build off of. If these guys, we're playing a lot of younger guys, so they can keep getting better. This is good experience for him. But with Tyler, man, I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, 3 total tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and he did all that on 22 snaps. So very, very productive with the opportunities that he was given. And like Bill said, man, he's a guy that is a product of it. He got 22 opportunities to make the most of it, and that's what he produced. So we'll see if Tyler gets more burn as we start to work through the mid to back half of this, the back end of the schedule. He's a hometown kid too, straight from down the road in Cary from Panther Creek.
Yep, that was the fumble there. Mackay almost got to it, rolls out of bounds, but yeah, man, it was refreshing to see. I mean, look at him run that down. That's a good play right there. So
yeah,
I thought that was good, man. And there was also we saw there was a lot of Kamari House unfortunately went down. I think Hickman Collins came in and played linebacker, played a good amount of snaps, and I thought he looked good at times. And with the defense, man, I want to shout out the defense as a whole because we did a really good job on first and second down. We got into the third down. It was like 3rd and 18, 3rd and 12. We couldn't get off the field on third down, but we made adjustments in the fourth quarter. We didn't allow any points in the whole fourth quarter. Shut them out. Yeah. And I don't know how their quarterback, he got popped a few times in the head. I don't know how shout out to that kid. He's a tough kid, but I don't know how he kept coming back. He took some big hits, so shout out to him. But we really made Cal earn it. If we could just get off the field and third down, this game's a completely different story there as well. So yeah, just build off of that on the defensive side as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what Cal's third down conversion was on there. Third down efficiency 6 for 16. So I don't know what percentage that is. I'm bad at math.
It's 6 for 16 is a little under 50%, 40 some, 30 some, 40%. I mean, but the third downs were long ones, man. It seemed like every time we get them in third and long, and they would convert. And that's been a story this year. I mean, I remember at Clemson there was times we had them in third and long, we just couldn't get off the field. So hopefully we can get a little better on third down and continue to get. I believe we were blitzing a lot more in the fourth quarter, and that seemed to work.
Yeah, and I'll talk about this too because I felt like Carolina, it's 37, something like I don't know.
We're not math whizzes here, and we did this without Thad. Exactly. An NFL guy. I was very nervous of that. I think Marcus, he played good. There was I mean, I'm not going to lie. A lot of fans were giving me crap for this, but I thought that the PI call, I mean, I think is going to get called every time. I believe both guys had hands on each other, but that's just something you see in the college game they're going to call. That sucked. That was a third down. They ended up getting points off. But other than that, Marcus played a good game. So he held his own, and I would – If Thad was out there, man, it could have looked a little different too. So we just got to build on that. Hopefully he'll be back soon for us.
Yeah, most definitely. Getting Thad back would definitely. But I think Jaden Patterson played a pretty good game. Marcus didn't do bad. I'm with you. That PI call, they're going to call that 10 times out of 10 in the game. But I will say this, man. I was critical on these guys going into it, and I will continue to be critical on our secondary. But I felt like they played a pretty solid game out there. I think the defense as a whole was much more improved this game. Same thing as the offense. Like I said, this is Carolina's best game that we've played this season. And heck, we gave up 21, but we still only scored 18. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to play devil's or be a pessimist or anything like that, but we're getting better.
And of those 21, you take away that early fumble that they got already in scoring position.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this defense held its own.
Yeah, this was a very Cal-like game stat wise. I mean, they only averaged like 90 yards a game rush, and they rushed for 80. I felt like Carolina or in our guys, we did a good job of tackling when we needed to. I love the fact that we rallied to the football. That was one thing that I found myself mentioning during the game was, man, our defense is flying to the football, and they did it for a full 4 quarters. And that was awesome to see to me. I've harped on the guys and have been vocal about, and the coaching staff has too. Bill said it. A lot of our issues that we've had, number one, the games have gotten out of hand for us. They've just been way out of reach early, and no matter what we do, we just can't get out of the hole that we've dug ourselves into. But another reason are just basic fundamentals. And there were some things that you got to clean up. I mean, if you go through and look at film and don't find something you need to work on, then you're looking at film the wrong way. But on
the effort side, Belichick in his post game, I mean, everything was pretty much about details. It wasn't effort. I mean, just like what you just said, nail on the head. It was little details that we can get better on.
Yeah,
and it's a game of inches. We were inches away from winning.
It is, and a situation like that, it puts it into perspective. Literally, like it is a game of inches. That guy doesn't punch. I mean, obviously, the guy doesn't punch the football in. Nathan Leacock goes on and scores. Carolina, we're having a much different conversation than what we're having right now, but it's in the details. And as much smoke as Belichick has taken over, the course of his Carolina tenure so far, and especially here recently, and most definitely with the product that we've seen on the field, it's he proved that he kind of knows what he's talking about. You know what I mean? The details. It is in the details.
I want to ask you, and I know the answer, but I want to ask it. So with this type of game, it looks like we from a bye week, we showed some progress, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
From where we were, we're getting better, right? So hopefully we've got I think the best offense other than TCU, the best offense we've played all year coming to Chapel Hill this weekend in Virginia. So hopefully we can build off of, other than Clemson too. Clemson's got a good offense. They weren't showing it until they played us, but Virginia's up in ACC ranks, one of the top offenses. So if we can continue to do that and get off some details, we'll see where this thing takes us. But it was refreshing to see. They preached the process, and we're just going to have to sit back and watch and trust it. I mean, the guy's got 6 Super Bowl rings as a head coach, and he knows a little bit about football. So we'll have to trust him and see where he can take us.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen Belichick, he's gotten criticized a lot lately, and rightfully so. He's taken some heat. But, and with everything that's been going on with Carolina here over the last, since the bye week, you know what I mean? Those guys, I felt like did a good job of blocking that out and just going out there and playing football. And maybe that's what they needed. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what's being said in the locker room and this, that, and the third. And, there's been rumors circulating this, that, and the third, but you wouldn't have been able to tell that Carolina team had all of that going on outside of the locker room with the way they played. And maybe it didn't infiltrate the locker room. Who knows? You know what I mean?
I'm glad you brought that up, dude, because that's a really good point. Like all of this noise, these players are seeing this mess.
It's hard not to see.
They're talking about it. And the West Coast is, even before we saw this team come out and play, we circle this game as like going to Cal on a Friday night, and West Coast trips. There's always an East Coast team going on the West Coast, and look what happened to Florida State. Nobody expected them to lose to Stanford. Now they're talking about firing their coach. I mean, they've struggled, but nobody expected them to lose that game. You go on these West Coast games and it's just different, right? And that's a factor, but also with all the noise for these guys to come out and play, as good as they did. Obviously, we didn't play as good as we'd hoped, but good enough, right? It's progress. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's a really good point.
Yeah, and Bill said it, man. He's with the guys every day. He's said it. If there's anybody that sees what these guys, how hard these guys are working, every day it's me. It's the people in this facility. We see how hard they're working. They're working hard. Things just haven't went our way throughout the first few. It didn't go our way this week. But what we showed Friday night, it gets you believing a little bit. Now we'll see how we go out there and handle it next Saturday against Virginia. But it will be at home. But I was encouraged to see from what I saw on Friday night. Now I wish I could make this point because I had it in my head. I said if Carolina goes and wins this game, I was going to say, well, we've seen how we've handled adversity. Now we're going to see how we handle a little bit of success. But it resets the guys, man. You know what I mean? You go into Virginia, you got some confidence about yourself. Now you had defeat snatched from the jaws of victory. Is that how that saying goes? Am I saying that right?
I don't think so, but I don't know how to correct you. So we'll roll with it.
Good deal. But you had victory and it got snatched away from you at the very last second. That's a better way to put it. So
there you go.
It lights a fire. I'm almost hoping it lights a fire in the guys to where they want to. You've gotten so close. Now you got to make those extra little plays. It's in the details. You've got to do your job at full speed, every play, every quarter, every minute, every second. It does mean that. And I have been in those moments. You have to do your job.
It makes, I'm going to go here, but when you can build on this performance, get better, it also helps with recruiting. It helps with the transfer portal. We've had last Sunday, six of our top recruits on with us, and they're fully locked in. Right before we go on, I look and, we talk about coaches getting fired. Florida fired Billy Napier today, and there's a 4-star offensive tackle that's committed to Florida that's visiting us this weekend.
Yeah.
So, when you can put a product on the field that's at least worth watching and kids see, okay, they were right there. I could be the missing piece. It's easier to get guys to want to come play for you and to build off of that. So I was hyped to that. Our guy Sean, he sent us a text this morning about 5 a.m. Trayshawn said, so he's locked in with us. He was he was a little disappointed that we lost, but he liked what he saw. He saw progress, right?
Yeah.
So it was refreshing to see, man.
Yeah, it's I'm with you 100% there. Is there anything else you want to add on the defense? Is there anything else I'm not talking that we haven't talked about?
Let's shout out. So we had let's see, I'm going to go up here. You did a good job pulling these numbers for us. I'm trying to find we've talked about this guy last. Will Hardy continues to play his butt off.
Yep.
Right. He plays hard. That's a guy that's going to play hard. He led all our tacklers with 7. Kamari House has an injury. I hope he's okay. I hate that for him because that was a game he was going back to Cali playing, I'm sure, in front of a lot of family and friends. He left out early, but he was playing a good game. And our guy, Andrew Simpson, what we're going to get from him. He shows up every week. And you mentioned, Jaden Patterson. But also I want to shout out, this is another one of your guys that you've loved all year, Gavin Gibson. He continues to fly around. He's playing some good football. So a lot that we can build off on both sides of the ball.
I'll tell you another guy that I like to see flying around on Friday night was Caleb Cost. He was a guy that we didn't really talk about coming into this season. With 73 new players, some of the returners are going to get overlooked. I'm sorry. But he was a guy that I'd seen 21 flying around. And I will tell you this. I have to talk about it because I found myself getting frustrated with it on Friday.
I think I know where you're going with it. Go ahead.
I love the way Caleb Cost and Gavin Gibson play football. I've talked, especially Gavin. I have talked about Gavin's chippiness and I love players that play like that. But you have to be smart about it, especially with how not so lenient these referees are with taunting now. They will throw a flag if you just stare at the guy for more than 2 seconds.
We saw that flag on Cal's defensive end. I'm glad it got called, but that was weak.
I just don't want us to get suckered into that. You know what I mean? Those are stupid. That's when stupid penalties, and that's we talk about winning situations and winning situations in football game, and usually the team that wins more of those key situations ends up going on to win the football game. But those penalties are situation killers. You do not have an opportunity to win a situation with that type of stuff. I love the chippiness to a certain extent. I love it. Guys are flying around. You got your swag about you. You're locked in to the game. You own your P's and Q's. Have a little swag about you. I get it. Don't be stupid with it. You know what I mean? There was a lot of times where our guys are on their sidelines and God knows, I'm like, yep, here comes a flag. They never threw one. I'm like, yeah, here comes a flag. Somebody's going to come in. I'd see Gavin running across the field or something like that. Yep, here he goes. He's about to set it off right now.
We got one on DeAndre Robinson, and
That's right.
I can't.
That
I mean, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for what. I mean, the kid, he had a guy take a cheap shot on him, then he got up, and the other guy's right in his face. So, I mean, it sucked, but I can't blame him. But he's another young cat that played good, Florida guy. Yeah. Greg Smith, another young guy. We got a lot of there's some veterans on this defense playing well, but there's some young guys playing well in the defense too.
Did you see Caleb Hood made 2 tackles Friday night?
Caleb Hood?
If you go on ESPN stats, and you scroll down to North Carolina defense, I wish I could clip it and throw it.
I've got it. Yeah. How about that?
Caleb Hood made 2 tackles.
I'm sure that's supposed to be Mekhi Bayer, but how about that? And Kevin, I like your comment, man. You summed it up. You summed it up, man. The team looked tough physically and mentally. We talked about all the noise mentally. They went out there and they played a solid football game. And that's the foundation, right, of a Belichick team. Need to keep working and keep building. I think you hit it spot on with that, man. So just keep working. We've got we're starting to form a foundation. Let's see where this thing can take us.
Yeah,
I want to harp on this too. So if you go back, this is something that's got our defense, and this is something I wish our offense would probably do more. If you go back and you look at TCU game, right? What do they do a lot? They motion guys. Sometimes when they're motioning those guys, it's to see what coverage you're in. Sometimes when they're motioning these cats, it's just to see what you're to confuse you.
I didn't mean to throw you off there. I was trying to get Belichick off the
I'm glad you did. Sometimes when they motion them, it's just to confuse the defense and make it look like they're doing something that they're not. But when we saw it against TCU, did it against us. We saw it against Cal. So TCU had a receiver go for 15 catches. I don't remember what receiver it was. Cal, they did the same thing to us, and they had a receiver, one guy. I mean, shout out to him.
Yeah,
Jacob, 13 catches.
Yeah, 105 and a touchdown.
I would love to see that added more so into our offense. Maybe a little, motion some guys, even if it's not changing up anything, just to confuse the defense a little bit. Look, these are still college kids. Get them thinking, Yeah. So
watching with all of the, with this the new era of Carolina, in the roots of it, right? We talk about that. I texted you this. Watching that Tennessee-Alabama game, just like I'm like, I want that for Carolina. You know what I mean? Because
takes you back to the start of the TCU game.
Exactly. How elated everybody was in Kenan Stadium watching. Well, I didn't watch the first drive. Y'all did. But I could tell from the crowd, the atmosphere, and the buzz in the stadium, you can feel that. Like, if you're in that moment, you know how it was. Yeah. You're in that moment, you can feel it through the core of your body. And it was just like, it was something crazy. But watching that,
and you were like, when we get to this ball one day, man, it's going to be amazing.
I'm telling you, man, it makes me want it for Carolina. And I don't have anything else. If I had to add one more thing, I will say this: going through and looking, at snap counts and what we're, looking at here on ESPN with the, guy stats and whatnot. Carolina rotated a lot of guys, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. I thought that was good, but you got production out of everybody that you subbed in, and that's what matters. You got guys out there that aren't giving max effort, like the guys that you just took out. It doesn't do you no good. You might as well just play the tired guy that's giving max effort. You see what I'm saying? So I felt like Carolina is figuring out what they've got a little bit more. And I know guys or people don't like hearing that excuse, but I do think that a lot of our struggles this year is us not us not having what we've needed to run the schemes that we want. They've had to really harp on it with them, I think, and make it work. And we saw Friday night that guys are getting better at doing things within our system. And I think while Friday night was good to see, I wish we would have got the win overall. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, we could take wins from this all across the board. While it's not reflective on the scoreboard, with our team and our situation and the product that we're putting out on the field, or we had been, I say had because I hope we leave that in the past and we continue to go up from here. It was good to see. And we still got a lot more room to go. I think everybody watching us, shout out to the 267 people in here that's viewing us across all platforms that we stream live to. Everybody can agree that there's room to grow with this Carolina team, and we'll see how they do. They got Virginia Saturday.
Yeah, real quick before we close out, I want to go through these because our guy Chris pulled it for us, and I believe he got it from our guy AJ Andrew Jones over at Hills 24/7, right? I believe.
Yeah.
Hills. Yeah.
I don't know where. Yeah.
They changed names, so I'll make sure I had that right. But this doesn't show up in the stat sheet. But our highest rated player in terms of PFF grades on offense was Connor Cox. It doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but Connor Cox was our highest graded, which obviously shows, when we ran the ball, he was doing a good job blocking. And then, obviously Kobe on offense. Our third highest graded player was Gio at quarterback, and then Benjamin Hall and Chad Lindbergh, right? On the defensive side of the ball, this, Cat showed out. We've already talked about him, but Tyler Thompson with a 91.6 PFF grade, and then another young cat, Greg Smith, 86.4, and then we had Andrew Simpson and Smith Vilbert. So, just wanted to get those numbers in there because there's guys sometimes that don't get talked about because they're not lighting it up in the stat sheet, but they're going out there and playing the game of the game of football the way it's supposed to be played. And so just want to make sure we gave those guys some credit. But that's all I got, Troy, unless you got any last minute things you want to add.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on, what all goes into PFF grades. I've never understood that whole metric system.
So there's I believe there was a disagreement one time with PFF grades, and PFF says I don't know how they pull the system, but I remember they clapped back and it was like, we don't just go off of stat sheets, we actually watch the game. Yeah, I believe it was like a Myles Garrett and one of the defensive guys. There was a disagreement who's the best, defensive player in the NFL, and it was like we don't just go off of stats. It goes off of watching the full game. So I don't really, it's a combination of everything. I don't know how they watch every play. They've got some kind of formula or spreadsheet somehow that they're doing it, but. I've always, because it does tell the story. Obviously, you look at Tyler Thompson with a 91. I mean, that's a 22 no-brainer.
Yeah. I was looking at it. It's the analytics company that grades every player on every play of a football game.
Yep. So every play, regardless if they're getting a stat or not, I guess they're grading them somehow, effort or some sort of way.
Yeah. That's kind of what I take from it. It's an effort grade almost.
Yeah.
Now, if there are people out here watching that don't agree with that assessment, please let us know, because I'd love to know what goes into a PFF grade. So if anybody can shoot us a DM or let us know and kind of break that down, PFF grades for dummies, I'm not opposed.
I believe it's a combination of all. But I've always loved to pay attention to it. So
ain't nothing wrong with it. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Well, dude, I want to. Did we play our video process?
No.
I want to get into that because, and before let's just play the video and then we'll go into a spiel about it each and we'll close.
It's a process, Coach Saban's talked about it.
Every coach needs to have the opportunity to establish his culture.
Bill Walsh has talked about it.
And we depended totally on execution and on a plan.
Build a culture, you build a program, and eventually the results will, they'll come.
It's a process to try to get better each and every day. We just kind of continue with the process and the trajectory that we're on. The results will come.
I mean, they're seems like they're in tune with what's coming from up top.
Yeah, it's a trickle down effect, and I've been vocal about that. It's Carolina, whatever culture you had with Mac Brown, it's a different regime, and that's not to knock Mac. I said it in the interview with a reporter on Mac's last game. I said whoever takes Carolina's head coaching position has a foundation laid from Mac. Now, you get a guy like Bill Belichick who has done it at the very best level. You kind of expect that to be wiped away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he went in there and remodeled that, ripped the foundation up and everything. But he's gonna build it his way.
He put grass back in Canaan, for God's sakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, man, where, and he talked about it, you know, the guys we've got, they're all great players. I will back a play. You know, there's different ways to improve a team, and now it's the portal. So, but outside of that, it takes time to establish a culture, especially a culture like someone like Bill Belichick has came from, and the dynasty that he built in New England. And I know that's probably cliche to say and probably a bad cop-out for what we've seen. If you anybody watching tonight, if you feel that way, cool. That's fine. But I will take the stance that our best days of Carolina football are ahead of us because we have to establish a culture. We have to get guys in the locker room that believe in that mission and how we want to, you know, go about business on the football field and 100% locked in. And not saying that the guys we've got now aren't. You can tell that they're locked in and they're buying in. And one thing I will say, and then Trevor, I'll pass this to you, is throughout all of this, all the, you know, the product on the field, all the BS that they've had that's been talked about within the media and all that good stuff. There has never been a time where I have felt like the guys just haven't went out there and are engaged and want to win. You know what I mean? I mean, we were getting smoked against Clemson. Benjamin Hall scores. I believe it was that game.
And he built off of it.
Benjamin Hall scores, and you see everybody rally around him. I mean, we've had recruits. We've had players on this podcast say, you know, just how locked in we, and everybody, and each one of them said the same thing. Guys are locked in. Guys are locked in. Now, just because you're locked in don't mean that it's going to result, you know, the results are going to be wins every week. If that's the case, then they ought to sell that formula for $50 million and, you know, and get rich quick. But it takes time. It is a process. And I'm a firm believer that our best days are in front of us. And right now we just have to take it how it is and you know, roll with it week by week. But as I always say, win, lose, or draw, we're going to talk about it all.
That's right. We always going to talk ball. So
nice add-on.
The argument with this every time like a week comes up, people will be like, well, look what Curt Cinetti did at Indiana. Yeah, look what Curt Cinetti did at Indiana. But he also took 20 freaking of his players from JMU, his best players, and brought them with him. That was a freaking daggone good football team. So he already had a pretty good foundation, and then he added on to it in the portal, right? So, you know, I get it, but if we can just continue to build off of last week's performance, get better week by week. You know, I'm not throwing in the towel on these guys. I'll be there Saturday. So, you know, we'll see where it goes from here.
I have to say this because you brought up Curt Cinetti. He brought his guys from JMU, and Indiana had a great season last year. Curt Cinetti, he said it in his introductory press conference. He said, "Simple. All I do is win. Google me." And that's what he's done everywhere he's went. But what popped in my head when you said that was Cignetti brought his guy. You know, when Deion got hired at Colorado, everybody gave him slack about, I got my luggage with me and it's Louis. I got people coming with me, Travis Hunter, Shador, and it's Louis. This, that, and the third. They went,
and that's another one. People compare Belichick. Look what Deion did his first game. Well, he also had a freaking Heisman Trophy winner in Shador, his son that he's coached his whole life, that was leading that team. You know, he had some guys he brought with him. But I want to, one thing on Cignetti, man, that just to throw this out there is wild, and we'll stop rambling. So when I owned a business up in Graham and right by Burlington, Signetti was the head coach at Elon at the time. And so to go through like a 5-year history, he left Elon, goes and is at JMU making about $400,000 a year. So 5 years ago, he's making $400,000 a year. He just got, after beating Oregon, gets a raise making $11 million a year. So how about that 5-year plan to go from making? He's already doing pretty, real good at $400,000. Now he's making $11 million a year. So
and Indiana's legit. But Kurt brought his Louis with him too to Indiana.
And they got a quarterback that we went after.
Real Louis.
We went after Mendoza. He picked Indiana over us. We tried to get him though.
Bill said that in his press conference earlier this week, and we'll get off of it, but he said it. He said, while we've got guys on the team, we got the guys that we got. He said, we missed on a lot of guys in the portal, a lot. And we missed on Mature. Is that his last name? From Oklahoma? Yep. We missed on him. He picked Oklahoma. So,
they took his OC with him. And you got to think, man, Bill got hired after the portal and was already open. A lot of times when these kids go in the portal, they already know where they're going.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, brother, that's all I've got. You got anything you want to add before I close this out?
No, let's just remember, shout out to everybody listening tonight. If you haven't, please like, comment, subscribe. The old cliche, that helps us grow. We're a grassroots podcast. We're not sponsored. We got a discount code though that you guys can take advantage of. Tar Pit Pod at Shrunken Head and Tailgate. They are awesome. Franklin Street, anything that you can think of, hats, clothes. They've got it, they've got it all. So use code Tar Pit Pod, get 15% off. And shout out to we talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but 140 Social, our home for all our game day shows. So shout out to them. If you guys have never been there, 140 is, I'm not just saying this, I promise you. If you go to 140 and you have a disappointment, come back and let me know, because I don't think you will, man. It's because they've got the best spot to watch a game. Largest TV on Franklin. I believe they got about 15 TVs in there and 100 sanitation score. So you can't beat that.
And Spike milkshakes.
Spike. I was going to try one last night, man, but I was after all that food I ate, I was like, I just can't do it. But one day. Yeah.
Well, man, shout out to 140. We're going to try to get back. We're going to be there Friday or Saturday. Yeah, we probably have to do it Friday. We'll get on that behind the scenes.
Yeah. So, one of those days we'll make an announcement.
Yep. Shout out to everybody. We're up to 294 tonight. We appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm sure there's probably been more. I don't that have tuned in through on and off throughout, but we appreciate everybody stopping in tonight. Carolina's back home Saturday against Virginia, 12 o'clock kickoff. I don't know if it's on. It might be on ACC Network.
ACC Network. Yeah.
So we'll be there. We appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. If you haven't already, give us a like, subscribe, a follow on all of our socials if you're not already. And if you are, we really, really appreciate it. Keep sharing our content. Keep tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Like Trevor said, we're a grassroots podcast, but we enjoy doing this. We love it. Love Carolina football. I enjoy doing this with these two guys. We'll have Chris back with us soon. But it's fun, and I'm looking forward to more Carolina football and seeing this team get better as the year goes on, man.
You talk about the atmosphere and how that's going to be one day. It's going to be real fun talking about it when we're on that level. So
we just got to get there, man.
That's right, man. Hey, until next time.
Hey, go Heels.
Go Heels.
Hey Tar Pit crew, thanks for hanging with us today. Quick shout out. Today's episode is powered by Untapped Sports Network. Big thanks to them for the support. If you like this episode, do us a favor. Like it, drop a comment, and share it with a friend. That kind of support goes a long way in keeping the podcast rolling. Make sure you're subscribed and following the Tar Pit Podcast on whatever platform you're listening on right now. And don't forget to follow us on social. We're on X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search the Tar Pit Podcast and you'll find us. Until next time, go Heels.